You see my slides?
I see your desktop, actually. Maybe you need to switch the share.
1 second, please. Right.
Yep, just swap your display settings there and you are ready to rock. Right there in the top middle where it says display settings, just go on up there and do swap. Perfect.
Great, thank you. Well, I'm going to talk about Dataverse for Teams in a real case scenario that I experienced, and I found it very interesting to share. So my name is Fernando Calero. I live in Puebla in Mexico. I'm originally from Mexico City. I'm an independent data analytics consultant. I was in finance and controlling, as many people in Power BI. And I'm actually more a Power BI kind of guy, but also Power Addict and Learning Fabric. And you have my contact there if you would like to get in touch with me. Well, what's the background of the project? There was a small group of people in a huge organization. Responsibilities nationwide in multiple locations. IT support access is costly and remote, hotline. I suppose some of you know that story. You cannot just walk to the IT department and talk to John. You have to grab the phone and call somewhere else. And that's complicated. Part of a bigger project. And they gave this group an Excel file with expenses, 3 years of history, and the goals. They had to understand the data, reclassify accounts, categories, or remove expenses that didn't belong to them, and summarize and report. And that has to be made fast. So how would you do it? Of course, Power Platform comes to mind. Starting from this, and that's the strange thing, that they were actually using this. And imagine the emails flying all over the world, the country or whatever, with the reclassifications. Well, first, let's build a Power BI report to understand the data. If you check this YouTube video from Patrick from GuianaCube, flat file to model, he explains very clearly how to modify an Excel file to put it in a model in Power BI. And also this video, Create Custom Keys, is very helpful. And with the magic of the internet, we get the Power BI report here. And then it's a beautiful report. And as you can see, we have the total amount, the total number of purchase orders, and we have information by country, by brand. I didn't start. Submit. 1 second, please. Okay. So we are looking brand, supplier, country, and why did we use this transformation to create a model from the Excel file to be able to slice and dice these expenses. This is an actual Power BI report on PowerPoint, but sometimes it doesn't help a lot. And then you can see the detail, which is part of the Excel file, where we have some categories: the type, the country, store, brand, product, etc. The purchase order number, which is very important in this case, and the cost. So we go back, and then if we continue, what's the next step? Now we need to reclassify the expenses, but then how to do it? And what we are going to do is duplicate our semantic model in Dataverse for teams. And for semantic model, I mean the expenses as a fact table and the dimensions as attributes that we talk about, suppliers, products, types, etc. Then we are going to build a Canvas app to reclassify the expenses. And finally, build a mirror report with the Dataverse for teams tables as a data source. But before going to a demo, let's talk about the overview of Dataverse for teams. It's no additional license required. If you have Microsoft 365, you have it. Enterprise security, which is very important, compared with the Excel file that we just saw. Dataverse for Teams environment is the Microsoft Teams team name. It has support for 1 million rows, and it has 2 gigabytes of database and file storage with no extension. But the good news is that you can upgrade to Dataverse. So let's switch then to a demo. Let me show you. Here you see my teams. And then we need to use Power Apps for Teams. If you don't have it, you can search for it. I already have it here. And then we open Power Apps in Teams. And then we go to Build. And you see here all the teams I have. And then here we have this team, for example, which is empty. Built by this team here, it's empty. And what we need to do is first, you can create here an app. But what we are going to do first is go here to this tab, Data Flows. And then with Data Flows, I didn't know this existed here. It's a little bit hidden. Let me do it again. I go to Power Apps, and I go to Build. And you choose the team. And here you have 3 tabs built by this team, installed apps, and data flows. And here you can create a data flow, and it has the magic of Power Query. And then you can transform your Excel file. And this is just amazing. And here I'm going to make it very brief because it's not fast, but I'm going to show you some of the steps. And I'm going to show you the final product. So here you have the Excel file that I saved in OneDrive, for example. You click transform, and then you have Power Query, and then you can start transforming this file. For example, you can start choosing columns and modifying and making aggregations and adding columns, indexes, and this is magic. When I found out, actually April made a video a couple of months or a year ago showing this. I was so excited because I used to be a Dataverse for Teams hater. I didn't like it, but this just came very useful for this business case. Then let me go to a full finished product. In this case, it's in another team. And then we have here some data flows already published and refreshed. And what do these data flows do? When you have already modified your source data, for example, here I have the Excel file with some modifications. And as you can see, it's a little bit slow. I have a column named type, and the different categories are normal, project, and extraordinary. So I selected this column and made some transformations, and I have here my table called type with these 2 columns. Then you click next, and as normal, now you can use Power Apps to load to a new table, and then you map here the columns, and you publish it. I'm not going to do that now, but then when you do it, you have this data flow already created, your tables in data flow, in Dataverse. Then you go back to build by this team and click below see all. And then what you see is all the tables that you created. And also then you can build your Canvas app using these Dataverse tables. I already did that, and what we are going to use is an app. We go to Teams that you publish in Teams, and the final product is this. You can click here and open in a new window, so it gets bigger. And so here you have the app, Canvas app, built with the Dataverse tables that you created with Dataverse for Teams. So next, what we are going to do is go back to the report. Let me open it in another window. And so the users are going to see this original report with their expenses. What they can do is just filter and go to a specific supplier, country, and what they can do is just check the purchase order, and they are going to see the detail. This purchase order, trying to use submit, but I can't. This purchase order, it says normal and from this store and from this category, and they say we need to reclassify this. What they can do is just copy the purchase order, copy value, go back to the app, paste it here. Then they get the details of this purchase order. They have several options to reclassify. For example, here in the center, is this PO applicable for maintenance? If it's no, they just click here and then it's gone. Or they can edit and change the type, change it to project or other, or the brand. If they click here, they can search for another brand if that was the case. No? And then they choose and the brand change it. Or for example, let me do it again and say this is not a normal expense, this is a project expense, successful, and then you see that it's project all over. And that's it. Well, and the last option is it's not applicable. Then you have to make a comment. Why is not applicable? Belongs to IT, not to our department. And then you click and then it's gone. And what this app is doing is modifying Dataverse tables where the information is updated. Then we go back and build the mirror report in Power BI, connecting to those Dataverse tables. The way to connect is just very easy. You just have to, for example, go here and then let me create a new data flow. Okay, and then view more, our platform, Dataverse. And here we need the environment domain. So where do we get the environment domain? We need to go here, go back to Power Apps, go to Build, go to our team. Let's choose another team by now, but then you go to your team and go in this tab, About, and then you choose Session Details, and then you choose Instance URL. Only this part, starting from org and ending in .com. Then you copy that. Then you paste it here. There you go. You click then you are connected to your Dataverse environment with all the tables. And then in this case, we have the tables here, which are type, supplier, store, and product. And that's how you grab your Dataverse tables and build your mirror Power BI report. Then you provide this to your users. And when they finish using the app in Teams, they just have to choose the reclassification report, which looks similar, identical, but it has the different data source. And that's it. That's how they could work together all over the country, in this case, in different locations, working at the same time, doing this job quickly, efficiently, with security. And that was an important part of the project. And it's just an experience that for me, it was a success, and I wanted to share it with you. And thank you very much. Let me just show one more slide, which is the architecture. So here we have the OneDrive where I stored Excel. Then in Teams, I used data flow to get Power Query to modify the Excel file and load the tables in Dataverse for Teams. Then I built this app in Teams. And originally, I used Power BI data flow to create the semantic model and the report. And in this report, we have those tabs or those pages, the original and the reclassified. And then this is how the summary, how it worked. And I hope you can see any chance that may be useful for you for another use case. And again, thank you very much. And thank you, David.
Awesome, Fernando.